Welcome to the 2025 Absolute Good Author Showcase. I have with me today Mrs. Lisa Cooksey Cannon, author of Victoriouse, A Journey of Hope and Perseverance. Welcome, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. You know what? You're just so sweet already. You just warmed me up already. Let me read a little bit about you because I think people will be shocked when they hear.
Okay.
A veteran of the United States Army, advocate for women, believer, and incomplete quadriplegic. Lisa Cooksey Cannon is a faithful warrior. The incomplete is from not completely severing her spinal cord in 2024. She stands a walking miracle after having spent several months in a wheelchair, completely paralyzed from the neck down. Get encouragement, strength, and healing, the healing you deserve to be victorious in your own life through a journey of hope and perseverance. So, can you tell us, Lisa, what is an incomplete quadriplegic in your case? What happened?
Nothing happened. I didn't have an accident. I didn't fall. Nothing happened. And no one knows why. My spinal cord injury took place. I was home minding my business, and my hands and feet and stuff were tingly and numb. And then all of a sudden, I had this injury. So the incomplete means I didn't completely sever my spinal cord. And the quadriplegic means all four of my limbs were affected and I was paralyzed. And the doctor said, had I turned quickly to the left or the right, I was going to sever it. And it was pressing so hard on my spine, the disc, that the width of your fingernail is all the room I had before I would have severed it completely. Don't cry.
I know this, right?
Yes.
But just looking at you,
Yeah.
in your book, we do have a picture when you were hooked up to all manner of everything.
Yes.
So you were doing fine. It was the holidays, hanging out, going to City Winery, hanging out with your husband, doing all kinds of wonderful things, hanging out with friends. And then I remember you writing that you started feeling tingly, and then it started getting worse and worse and worse. And your doctor like, oh, maybe it was the box braids.
Yep.
And you said, well, I'm gonna take them down. And that morning that you were taking them down, you fainted on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
I was so exhausted. I said, I have to take these braids down and I'm going to get in the shower. I tried. I got in the shower. I got some of the braids down, but I was only there for like a minute or so. And I had to immediately get out and go to bed. And I was exhausted. And that was like Friday and Saturday. Then Sunday, I tried again. And I got in the restroom and I sat on the commode. And the next thing I knew, I fell forward. I cupped my hands because I knew I was going to fall. And I laid on the bathroom floor. I'm not sure how long I was there. And I had not closed the door completely. So I scooted myself out, used my legs, and pushed myself to the middle of the floor. And that's where my husband found me.
So, because you're a veteran,
Yep.
they speeded you off in an ambulance and you went to John Cochran Veterans Hospital here in St. Louis.
Yes.
And they kind of thought that you were going to be like, nothing was really wrong, right?
Yes.
And even had you stand up. And what happened when you tried to stand?
I passed out.
So you had a surgery that they were hoping would solve the problems.
Yes.
Did it solve the problem?
No. I was still paralyzed. Yeah.
So then, were you hooked up to all manner of machine that time or after the second one?
After the second one.
So then you had a second surgery.
Yes.
and you were just watching TV.
Yes.
And your daughter was in the room. She had flown in from California.
Yes.
Your husband was in the room.
Yes.
You all were watching television.
Yep.
And then what happened?
I became unresponsive. And I was intubated with the machine that breathes for you for a few days. Before that, my blood pressure spiked to well over 280. They rushed them out, and I'm telling this secondhand because my husband had to tell me because I was unresponsive. When they rushed them out, they worked on me for 45 minutes to save my life, basically, to get me stable. And when they came back in, that's when I was intubated, and they told them my body just needed to rest. I ended up with pneumonia, and I think that aided in me becoming unresponsive.
So during the second surgery, they had to do something, I think, was it to your esophagus?
Yeah.
What happened there?
So all the herniated discs in my spine between C4 and C7 were flat.
Okay.
And they shouldn't be flat, and they shouldn't be pressing against your spinal cord. So they had to move my esophagus over to scrape more debris from my esophagus, which left me, my esophagus was sore and swollen and not in a good shape.
Okay.
So I had to go on a feeding tube.
Okay. And then we won't get to the part that I know you want to talk about, but let's get to the rest of it first. Then we'll come back because I know what you're going to say.
Okay.
So they told you if you were to heal and be able to walk again, it would probably take you about a year. Is this correct?
Yes.
So they moved you over eventually to
Jefferson Barracks,
Okay.
spinal cord unit.
Okay, the rehab unit. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And so you met a friend.
I did.
So can you tell us just real quick about your friend?
Ginger. Her name is Ginger. She had had an accident and she was paralyzed from the neck down. But by the time I got there, she was walking. So they kept telling me about her. And they said, you guys are going to be the best of friends. It had been forever since Jefferson Barracks had 2 women on a spinal cord unit. So both of us was there at the same time. And we both ended up walking out.
And although our audience can't tell, you're a little petite. So
Yes.
you talk in the book about the clothes you had to, they had to modify clothes,
Yes.
they had to modify the belts, they had to do all
Yes.
these things in order. So
Yes.
let's just talk. What would you say was maybe the hardest thing for you, and then how did you get through this to start walking? You know, what was one of the most difficult things for you?
Not knowing. With a spinal cord injury, you don't know if your body is going to wake up or not. So I made peace with maybe I was going to end up in this wheelchair for the rest of my life. And I was okay with that.
And you, your quote
Yeah.
from the book: "Thank God my brain and body started talking to each other within months of my injury.
Yeah.
I'm a walking miracle. God could have said otherwise, and I would still be in a wheelchair."
Yes.
So can you tell us what was happening during your rehab at night, and what did you do?
You're talking about the hallucinations?
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the medications made me hallucinate. I would open my eyes and see birds or rats or mice. And then I just started to pray. I just prayed. Every time it happened, I prayed. And I kept asking God, please guard my mind and my body. Because when you're paralyzed and you hallucinate, there is nothing you can do. I just had to lay there and be and pray.
So they had given you an estimated year to possibly recover.
Yes.
However, after
However,
your PT,
yes.
which helped your physical therapy,
Yep.
your OT, your occupational therapy, which taught you how to write and all those types of things again, and your,
Yes.
I guess your psychiatric therapy,
Yep.
you started walking and you left the hospital in what record time?
4 months. First it was December, then it was June, and on April 30th, they said, there is nothing else we can do. You can go home.
Why did you feel this story needed to be told?
I don't know. I didn't feel the story needed to be told. It was God that told me that the story needed to be told. One day, one of the nurses walked by, and I love to journal. One of the therapists at Jefferson Barracks found me a journal. Although I couldn't write, he asked me what I like to do, and I said journal. So once I was able to start writing, I started trying to write in that journal. And when you see my book, you'll see that my handwriting was like a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. I had to learn everything all over again. So that nurse walked by and said, I can't wait to read your book. And my spirit literally stopped. And I'm thinking, okay, God, is my journaling for a book? Like all my life, I've loved to journal. So was this book, is this a book for you? And being obedient to the word, I said, okay, God, I will continue to write. And when it's time for me to find someone to help me, let me know.
I didn't know that part.
Yes.
And somehow somebody said, call this lady. And
Yes.
I remember you told me,
Yep.
you said I had 2 cards and I thought I was calling the other lady, but I ended up calling you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
here we are today.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Lisa, I want to thank you. You know, I'm so excited for what you're doing and the fact that although this was difficult, scary, I mean, we didn't even talk about all the therapy you did, but people will learn more about your story.
Yeah.
But, you know, people are going through a hard time in life.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But looking at you, we would never know what you've been
Yes.
through. So what would you say to anyone who is having a hard time mentally, physically, or spiritually? What do you want to tell them?
Don't give up. Fight. Fight for yourself, fight for your family. Lean into God's word. Without my faith, I'm not sure if I would have made it. And I accepted that if I was going to be in this wheelchair, it was okay.
And you were going to bling it out.
I was going to bling
like those
that
earrings.
bling that bad baby out. Yes.
And while this interview could not be complete without it, although one would think it might have been the wheelchair or the roller or the cane and all this stuff, the only thing that Lisa complained about when we were working on this book was what?
The food.
The food. She had a minced and moist menu.
Oh my God.
And tell us just really quick about the ketchup and the salt and the pepper and pancakes.
Oh my gosh. So with minced and moist, it's color coordinated. You don't know what it is. It's baby food. And you don't know if the yellow is squash, corn, pancake. You're not quite sure. So I would pick it up and smell it, maybe taste it. And then the nurse and I, or whoever was feeding me, would look at each other like, oh, yeah, that's squash. Yep, never again do I eat that.
So Lisa, an interview with you would not be complete without talking about that food, because I think it's so amazing that out of all of the challenges you had,
Yes.
that the most difficult thing for you really in general was the food. And
Yes.
so because your esophagus had that issue,
Yes.
then it made it difficult. So you were on liquids, then
Yes.
minced and moist, and eventually you got to food. So
Yes.
I just want to thank you. You are such a pleasure to know
you.
you're an inspiration.
Thank
And anyone who gets a chance to meet you or read what you have to say, I know they will be inspired and encouraged. And
That's
so
my prayer.
thank you so much.
Thank you.